Let me tell you something about D&D. It is not that complicated.
Not at all.
The rules are in place as a guideline. The book is very daunting.
Yeah, you don't need to read the whole book at all to play the game at all.
Yeah.
If you've ever played Skyrim or any RPG game whatsoever,
yeah,
it's like that, only board game version.
Yeah, read the book on Skyrim. Jump here, jump there, shoot magic, have fun.
Yeah, seriously though. Yeah.
It's, if you like the thrill of not knowing what to do next, or a bit of gambling, possibly.
D&D.
Yeah.
Sponsored by your nearest casino.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so yeah, basically though, there's so many rules that people you hear get in arguments and stuff.
Yeah.
Rule number one, you can throw out any rule that you want, because that's how the game works.
We ruled out foot speed unless you are drastically faster than someone else.
Yeah. Because
it doesn't make sense. Or what is it, initiative?
Yeah.
We didn't even play with it, so I almost forgot what it was called.
Yeah. That'll be a different video for people who are into D&D. But
yeah.
Yeah, so basically, there's two main ways you can play the game. You can either play it with maps and minifigures and stuff, and the other way to play it is called Theater of the Mind, which basically means that you don't have maps or minifigures.
Yeah, you draw something on the fly. I did it last weekend.
Or you just don't need to. Like, you don't need to have anything drawn up. You could literally play the game with just the D20 and no character sheets. I've actually done that before, too.
What, is it like a starter just to get...
Yeah, just to show people how the game works. Like, you don't need... It's literally...
I do that with my niece and nephews.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially for, like, people who have no idea what D&D is, or, like, younger kids and stuff. But yeah, as far as character sheets, like, if you go through and... That's probably the first thing you're going to want to learn is how to make a character sheet.
Yeah.
And don't start with a wizard or, like, a druid. Don't start with a druid.
It's complicated. I did a druid my first time around, and... it was hard learning what you could do with it. It's a lot of fun now because it's like, wait a minute, I can do this, literally anything. Yeah. But it's pretty daunting.
Yeah, if you make any spellcaster, the only thing that makes it more difficult is you have a sheet with spells, and then you just need to know what your spells do. That's just kind of it. And also understanding how the spell system works, which, again, isn't that complicated after you kind of... And there's like a bajillion videos on how that works. So
there's more in depth. We're here to have fun. We want to explain.
So basically,
you can't have fun.
You do need a set of polyhedral dice, like a 7 set of like a D20, a D12, whatever. And then usually, if you've got someone who's super into D&D, they'll have dice for you. But otherwise, I mean,
local store, $11, probably a little more if it's not around you close enough.
Amazon.
Yes.
$5. So basically one person needs to come up with where you're at in the game and is pretty much like the storyteller, and that's who the dungeon master is, or the guild master, or game master, whatever you want to call them. And they pretty much just explain what's going on. And the only time that dice is introduced is when you want to add an element of randomness to the game of like, I don't know what's going to happen. So, you know, it's kind of like if I was the storyteller for the game, I'd be like, all right, you know what, you've got, you know, you guys, for whatever reason, most games start with people in a tavern, because I guess that's just medieval times. That's where people would naturally meet up. But it could be like, you know, you guys all are at the gate of the castle that just burned down or something. And it's kind of like, Or you're all roommates and you just moved into this place and...
you woke up to a burning city.
Yeah, stuff like that. And it's kind of everyone goes outside, and then it's kind of like, usually the storyteller lays out like 3 different things or a couple different things. It's kind of like, what do you do? You know, or it's like, or it could be as vague as, you guys walk out and the city's burning, what do you do? And it's like,
roast marshmallows?
Yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, you could literally, like, some people will be like, I'm going to go find the nearest store and loot it. And the way that would unfold is like, okay, you know, and the storyteller, they're pretty much like, they're creating it as the player's also coming up with it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the DM is portraying the illusion that they know what's going on. And it's kind of like, the player just said they want to loot a store. The DM could either be like, no, there's not a store. Or they could have fun with it and be like, yeah, okay, you look to your left, roll a perception check. And then, or just roll. And then it's like, all right. And the storyteller has in their mind what number they want the player to get to You know, if they roll a 10 or higher, then
What's
they
in the
see
building?
one. You know, and if they roll lower than a 10, maybe they see one of the other party members or something. Or they go to break in the store, and maybe one of the other party members sleeps in the store. You know, like, you could kind of, it's just kind of, as the game's going, you kind of make it up as you go, and it's really fun.
Yeah. And you can get way more in depth with character building, and if you give a good enough background, your DM will play into your own
Oh
background.
yeah, it's super awesome. Good DMs will. So if you want to be a good DM,
You can get complicated later on. I just have fun in the beginning. Like you said, you don't even need dice. Like,
yeah.
oh, there's
Well,
some
you need
goblins.
dice,
I'm
but,
going
like,
to strike him. Well, yeah, go ahead and strike him.
I guess I'd say at least a D20, but
yeah,
to add the randomness. But
either
way,
it's so basic and it's a lot of fun. Even if you're not into it, I would say at least give it one try if you have somebody that is into it.
it's also hilarious to watch people play the game, like,
Yes.
especially in person, because people get crazy, and it's great. And the other thing too is it doesn't have to be medieval times either. I mean, like Dungeons and Dragons, that's set up for medieval times, but like
It's a lot easier to portray because there's not complicated things like computers and stuff.
it's pretty much like there's magic. Yeah, but like if you play Call of Cthulhu, you know that's still like creepy and weird and. But
that's
very much Zoidberg, but it's like modern day, so it's like, all right, you know what? I'm shooting a gun now.
Yeah, I think that it's set in the 60s, I think.
Yeah,
Which is crazy.
it might be earlier than that. It might be like 20s, 30s.
Oh. Either way.
Somewhere in that. It doesn't matter. That's the point.
And set your session in the 60s or the 20s and go off of what gun
Both
there
at the
is.
same time with time travel.
That's another story.
Go from the roaring 20s to hippie land.
No, you can't time travel. You can't teleport.
We made a video about that, about incompetent DMs. Don't restrict your players. That's another thing. The game usually ends up way more fun if players come up with something crazy and you roll with it. Like, I had one just to show two people how D&D worked. I just gave them each a D20 and just started making stuff off on their real life. Like, it was like, okay, you're coming home from work and you see a car accident, you know, or whatever. And they end up, like, getting home and it's kind of like there's something ominous chasing them. And then the one player is like, I know our neighbor has a biplane parked in their backyard, so we're going to go over there and escape. And it's kind of like, all right, cool. And then I have their neighbors show up with a shotgun because you aren't stealing my biplane. You know, it's literally just making up crap and running with it. It's a lot of fun. Definitely try it. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Just imagination.